Welcome back to the mess that is my low-buy. Before I start off, I do want to say that I have a little bit of a cold, so I'm sorry for the changes in my voice in this video, or anything else that happens. I wish that I was coming on here right now and saying that this low-buy for May went really well, and that I stayed within the 8-item limit, but I did not. This is the worst month that I've had so far in my low buy. I mean, otherwise, great month. Low buy, not so much. It did not go well. So, the item limit that I have for myself is 8 items per month, and ideally that would be, split up into 2 items per week. But this month I bought 16 items in May, and that's double what I was supposed to. Wait, sorry. That is double what I was supposed to buy. Before we get into the nitty-gritty though, look at my shirt. This is the shirt that I was talking about in my last video that hadn't arrived yet, and here it is. I really like it. Now, let's talk about the wish list that I had for May. So the first item that is on my wish list is a pair of shoes. It's actually 2 items. They're the Doc Martens 8053 platforms, and then just Palladium shoes. I listed them as 2 items, but they're shoes. They're both shoes, so I'm just gonna say they're 1 for now. In the beginning of May, I desperately needed a pair of shoes. I mean, not desperately, but I definitely needed a pair of shoes, even though I was, not loving admitting that, because I'm not someone who likes buying shoes. I normally wear my shoes until they can't be worn anymore because of the, weather changing. It's, almost summer now. It was getting hotter, and the hotter it got, the worse I felt wearing, my Doc Marten boots, because it was getting so hot, and obviously leather is not the best thing to be wearing in the heat. And so, also, my boots are kind of looking rough, not falling apart, definitely not, but they are definitely looking rough. But I'm not gonna, throw them in. I'll throw them out. I'm not gonna throw them out yet. I'm sure they still have quite a bit of wear left in them, but they're just not really the shoes that I would like to wear in the summer. And so that being considered, along with the fact that, the other pairs of shoes that I had either did not fit me, made my feet hurt a lot. I also had some sewing supplies on there, elastic thread and hook closures for a sewing project that I wanted to do. I had some sunscreen on there because I did not have any sunscreen, and I know I would say, I don't know if most people do this, but I do come across a lot of people who wear sunscreen on a daily basis. And I honestly, I have never been one to wear sunscreen on a daily basis. I've just been someone who wears it if I know I'm going to be outside for a while. If I'm only going to be outside a little bit, then I usually don't I don't wear it, but I probably should. So, got some sunscreen on there. I also had, piercing, as in piercings for my ears. I've never had my ears pierced. I think they look really cool, and it's been on the list for 2 months now, I think, and obviously it didn't happen in May. So month 3, hello. I also have a bike on there. I really want to be a little bit more active and pick up a new hobby that I think that I will actually enjoy. I've got worker / painter's pants on there, kind of like the canvas-y type material for pants. Those, they look cool and comfy. I've got linen pants, a comfy t-shirt, hair clips, plants. By plants, I meant house plants and also plants that, would grow like vegetables. I really wanted to try to do my own, gardening this year. And lastly, I have Pansy Co socks on there. I put Pansy Co socks, and what I meant by that was like colorful socks. Sorry if there was just a really drastic lighting change. One of my lights just died, so I had to get a different one. That's the wish list that I had for May. And now let's see if I actually bought anything on the wish list. Okay, brace yourselves, because this first purchase really, really sets the tone for the rest of the month. So on May 1st, I bought 7 items. 6 of those items were tops that I got at the thrift store, and the 7th item was sunscreen. Now, I definitely needed sunscreen, and, I did kind of need a couple of t-shirts. Not necessarily needed, but I did kind of need a couple of t-shirts because I had gotten to the point where I was wearing, I think, like the same 5 shirts every single week. And while there is nothing wrong with that, doing that really wears down on the clothing. And also, I just got tired of wearing the exact same thing all the time. And also, I think I was just a little bit unprepared with my clothing at the time for how hot it was going to be and how hot it is still getting. So I went to Goodwill, and for the first time in a very long time, I actually found quite a bit of stuff at the thrift store, and it was so nice because I used to love thrifting. I used to go all the time a couple of years ago. The more I started to embrace sustainability within, clothing in my life, the harder it got for me to buy clothing in general. Became very closed-minded in my sense of style, I guess, and I knew what worked for me, and I did not ever want to stray from that because I was afraid of, what if it looked bad on me. And I also put a little too much of my self-esteem in those clothing items that I thought just worked for me. I hope that makes sense, but the tops that I bought at Goodwill on May 1st were really outside of my comfort zone for, myself at the time, and for me for the past year and a half. And so once I realized that there were some items that I bought that I didn't actually like because, I couldn't try them on, the fitting room is closed at the thrift store, I started to consider reselling them on Depop or donating them back to Goodwill. But I wanted to give myself time, or even, trying to alter them in a way that, I would end up liking the piece of clothing. But I really wanted to give myself some time to think about it because I made the choice to spend my money on that item. I brought these items into my life, and I need to work with them because I chose to bring them in. And I guess in my eyes, instead of seeing them as being not necessarily disposable like it's trash, but, once I realized that there were some things that I bought that I didn't like, I was just thinking of ways that I could get rid of them, and I wasn't thinking about the fact that they are resources that I, now have. But I think the most sustainable thing that you can do is use what you already have. And so I guess what I'm trying to say is, instead of letting myself just remove it from my life by donating it or trying to sell it on Depop, I wanted to take responsibility for the fact that I bought that stuff, and so now it is within my possession. It's my responsibility. Use these resources to the best of my ability, I guess. I don't know. I hope what I'm trying to say is coming across. Yeah, I bought 6 shirts, and I did give myself time to think about it, and I ended up altering one of them. But after giving myself time, I ended up really liking all 6 of them. After I bought the shirts, got the sunscreen, because I went on a brief trip to the beach for the first time at the end of May, and I did not have any sunscreen, so bought that sunscreen. In the second week of May, I ended up needing some deodorant, so I just bought some native deodorant again. I wanted to do like the plastic-free native deodorant, but they don't sell it in stores around where I live. They'd only sell it online, and I wasn't sure that I was going to be able to wait for it to be shipped because I was like fresh out of deodorant, and I'm a little sweaty, so I needed the deodorant. But in the third week of May, I bought probably one of my most favorite purchases of the year, and that is a pair of Palladium shoes. I have worn them every single day since they arrived, and I love them. I didn't think that I would love them as much as I do, because I kind of grew out of the white sneaker thing a while ago, and just kind of started preferring more like darker, edgy shoes like Doc Martens. But I mean, I have worn them, like I said, literally every day since I bought them, and I am really, really glad that I bought them. And in that same week, I also bought a pair of linen pants. At the time, I really, really hated wearing shorts because I hated exposing my legs, just because it made me feel really uncomfortable. And I also hated wearing dresses because of the lack of utility. There are no pockets in any of my dresses. So I was just gonna buy a pair of linen pants. Well, I did buy a pair of linen pants because, I'm just a pants person, but I know how miserably hot some of the days will be in this coming summer, and so I bought some linen breathable pants, and I don't regret buying them. I definitely could have gone without them. In that same week, once again, I bought a plant. This one, because oh god, yeah, I need more plants. Never too many plants. I was too hesitant to actually buy the vegetable plants, so I just ended up buying, that guy back there. And now he's here, part of the gang. In the last week of May, I made another trip to the thrift store, and I bought 5 items. 2 vests, both of them orange, surprisingly, and orange is not really a color that I'm drawn to. I was drawn to these vests, so I bought them, and they're definitely way, way, way outside of my typical style, but I really enjoy that, and I've worn one of them quite a bit, not so much the other one. I'm thinking about altering it, but the other one, the one that I have been wearing a lot, I've been enjoying it. The one that I have been wearing is a fleece vest, and oh my god, I'm probably not going to be able to wear it very long because, it's fleece and it's hot. The other one, though, is linen with a silk interior, and it's really comfy, but it's a little long for the style of it for me personally, so I may take it up a bit. And then I bought 2 pairs of shorts, and you may be wondering, earlier I said that I really hated wearing shorts because I was insecure about my legs. Yes, That's true. Bought these 2 pairs of shorts because, I knew that I was going to go to the beach, and oh my gosh, it just would not have worked if I tried to wear pants there. Not only because it was just too hot, but also pants just don't work at the beach. And I even tried to wear my Palladium shoes into the sand. That does not work, unless you want sand in your shoes. And I did get sand in my shoes. I got sand everywhere. But I quickly learned that I need shorts and sandals if I'm going to the beach. Thankfully, I borrowed a pair of my mom's sandals, so I didn't have to buy my own. But I did, obviously have to buy my own shorts. And then I also bought, on that thrift trip, a striped t-shirt. And I've also worn that one a lot. I took it up a little bit because I didn't really like how long it was. I also took it in because it was just a little bit big on me. That's all that I purchased in May. 12 pieces of clothing is a lot to buy in a single month. It's definitely a lot more than the 2-item limit that I had for myself for clothing. I'm trying to look at it from the perspective of how often have I used these items so far, and so far I've used all of them quite a bit, save for like the linen vest that I want to take up and the super orange shorts. Otherwise, I've worn all of them quite a bit. And I also had a ton of fun going to the thrift store and being more open-minded and trying to experiment a little bit and buy things that are, kind of outside of my comfort zone. As for, what I said earlier about using the resources that I have before trying to find, new items, whether that's literally new items or trying to buy something else to replace it, even if it is secondhand. I think it's definitely better to use what you have first before you try and buy something in addition to it or to replace that item. Even though I was pursuing sustainable fashion, I think I definitely still had this mindset that clothing is disposable. Using up my resources, using what I already have, is less important than being fashionable. I don't know, I think a lot of people who are interested in sustainable fashion get wrapped up in wanting to look fashionable still, and there's nothing wrong with that. I want to look, fashionable. I want to wear things that I like. People carry over this mindset of overconsumption and, resources like clothing being disposable. They carry that over from consuming fast fashion into consuming sustainable fashion, whether that is fashion from an ethical company or secondhand fashion. But I think what my trips to the thrift store this last month has helped me realize is that I should use the resources that I have before trying to attain new ones. And I know this is not a mindset that is new at all. This is the mindset that my family has had my entire life. We use our resources as much as we can before we try to replace them. Once I started earning my own income, though, I lost sight of that mentality because I just kind of got excited, I guess, that I, had my own money and I could spend it however I wanted to. I was just really, careless with my money. I care way more about being stylish than being eco-friendly, and you can do both. I did the worst in terms of my low buy this month out of, all of the months that I've done it so far, but I feel wiser, I guess. I just feel like I have been doing a lot of reflections in the last couple of months, but now I finally kind of feel like I'm starting to see the improvements and the growth from those reflections. Oh my god, I know you're probably tired of hearing me talk about clothing, and I am tired of hearing myself talk about it, but it's definitely something that I've had issues with for a really long time. Like I said in my last video, I really enjoy clothing, and I'm not gonna guilt trip myself for enjoying it. There's nothing wrong with enjoying it, but I don't want to keep prioritizing clothing over everything else. And I think that was a bad habit that I had gotten wrapped up in, that I'd wrapped myself up in for a long time. I'm improving, I hope. I hope I am. The items that I have bought, since they are so far outside of my comfort zone, I think maybe it shows some growth with my relationship with clothing. Me buying things from the thrift store, finding more affordable options is definitely what I need to keep doing, because Depop, like, I love Depop, love the sellers on Depop, but sometimes it's just a little high in the price for me personally. So finding options that are better for me personally, and also trying my best to continue pursuing sustainable fashion. I mean, the last 3 months now, I think I have gone over the item limit, and I have even considered ending my low buy just because it doesn't seem to be working for me. I think that was because the item limit, I mean, it really had no repercussions or consequences other than, you know, me having to admit that I went over the item limit. That's it. I'm going to change the way that I'm doing this a little bit, and I'm going to do a budget instead of an item limit from now on. Okay, so I think that's it for my reflections. Let's close out with my wish list for June. First item, some cream pants. I've been wanting some cream pants for a while, but I mean, I don't need them, but I would like to have them. Ear piercings, I still really want to get my ears pierced. I do really want a bike. I also actually need some, like, facial cleanser, because I don't know what has been going on with my skin in the last year, but it has changed a lot. I have, like, a lot of texture going on, and my skin is a lot more oily than it used to be. I would like to get a facial cleanser that is better for, like, oily skin, and see if that can help out with the excess oil and, like, the texture. I also want to get some candles. I really like candles. I have one in here right now, and I do like it, but I would like to have maybe a more, like, woodsy scented candle. That would be nice. And then I have some socks, colorful socks. I've been looking at, you know, Pansy Co. and Colorful Standard, and also Girlfriend Collective for some socks, but I've not really decided on what color that I want yet, or which company I want to buy from. And then I have hair clips. That's something that I don't know, I do sort of need, but I don't really know if I'm gonna buy it, because I have looked around a little bit for some hair clips, and honestly, I just can't find one that I like, and I'm not gonna spend my money on something that I don't like. So it's on there if I am able to find something that I do want to buy. I think that's it for this low buy update, and I am gonna close it out. I haven't really talked this much ever since my throat started, like, getting really dry and sore. I'm gonna, you know, go rest and stand next to my humidifier. Hopefully it'll help me. I hope that you enjoyed it, and I will see you in the next one. Bye!